Hey team, welcome back to the Building Better Humans Project podcast. It is Mayhem Monday, which means, of course, we have
Mayhem
in the building.
Mayhem. Hello.
And if only you had any idea.
You'd love your life.
So before we go into today's episode, which Millie will talk about, I just want to briefly touch on the fact that since we've recorded our last episodes, Millie fought again for the WBC Australasian title.
Yes, I did.
And had a very good win.
Yeah, that was a really good fight. Yeah, I really enjoyed being in the ring for those 4 rounds. It was meant to be 8, but we got her out in 4.
Yeah, so it was fighting someone with 25 pro fights in only your 3rd pro fight. You haven't had a big amateur background.
No, not one at all, really.
So we're not scared to take on challenges. And she's fought some of the best girls in Australia, a lot of Australian and international champions. And to be fair, she hasn't won a lot of those fights, but she's won more fights than we've had.
Yeah, she has, when you think about it that way.
And she went the distance with a lot of those girls.
Yeah.
Not with you. So what do you think the difference was? Because pre that, we went up a weight division, 2 weight divisions.
Yep.
A few things, we didn't get the decision that I still think was dodgy.
Me too. I still think that we won that fight that we,
comfortably,
on our record, didn't win, which is frustrating for us, but it is what it is.
But it was poor for the next opponent because we went out with a whole different game plan, more aggression.
Yes. So, we tried in the fight that I lost, we tried to box a little bit more, box and move and all of that. But this one, we just were like, nah, we're just going to go out and smash it. Let's go. Yeah. Which I like more as my fighting style, but I also do love to box and move. I guess I like both styles, but, just getting in there and, my fitness can handle going hard from the get-go. Yeah. So
the weight cut was hard because we had to go from 2 weight divisions up to then
we had to go from fighting at 57 kilos to weighing in the day before my last fight at 53.5.
With only 4 weeks between.
With only 4 weeks. And if you know anything about losing weight, it's pretty hard.
Yeah, and for people that don't understand it, combat sport in particular and a weight-driven sport, that's your athletic performance is really important. So how you fuel yourself. And so we do that very well through a nutritionist, even though you've got very good knowledge, or a dietitian. You've got very good knowledge, but you still, you mostly preempt even what your dietitian's going to say.
Yeah, she's absolutely amazing, the performance dietitian, shout out. So, I'm really happy with what she does and how she helps me through my weight cut. And she keeps it as safe as possible, which obviously is a high priority. And
next we go to PNG for the Nationals, which is your final selection, I think, for Con Games selection.
Yeah.
We've still got a few political hurdles in our way, organising dual citizenship again and so on, but we'll get there.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this and you work with PNG Immigration, help us out, help a sister out. God, it used to be a little bit easier than this.
Right, just pay a bit of money? No, I'm joking.
No, we would never do that. We would never buy someone a carton for favours.
All right, so today, first, before we get into today's episode, we've been getting obviously good feedback again. And these have been going up on YouTube. Some people weren't aware of that they're also up on YouTube. So just look for the Building Better Humans Project. They're under Mayhem Mondays.
We usually share it on our socials, a couple of days before that episode will come out or even on the day. So if you're not, a fan of just listening and you want to watch and see all of that, then go on the YouTube. But yeah.
We had a little good bit of feedback just on Facebook yesterday saying that watching the body language between us is quite good.
I love that. Yeah. So we've had really good feedback, regardless of any questions that may come in framed in negative. We've had mostly good feedback on these podcasts. So keep all of those coming. Even if you don't have good feedback, also keep it coming because we kind of live for feedback.
Yeah. We're pretty broad-shouldered. Like, we'll take on whatever. And one of the things I've said to you is that it can seem like you're getting some negatives, but realistically it's 90% positives.
Yeah.
So we're being far outweighed by the positives. 100. Not that we're driven by either, but in life I think we can tend to focus on negatives when they come in without realising, there's that one negative and over here there's 9 positives. So for mostly the feedback's been really, really good and we appreciate that. And And we'll get better and better at this too,
Yeah.
this format. So, yeah. So anyway, let's get on to today's topics.
So today we obviously put out those NGLs, so the questions for our followers and our listeners to ask, or even just send feedback. And we put out on your socials, an NGL link asking for topics, and then we can base those around. But mostly we're just getting stuff about our relationship. So I guess people are very curious, which is fine. We love to talk about anything.
Sorry, anything.
Anything. Oh my God.
But
We just
truthfully,
love talking about ourselves.
but truthfully, obviously, people are still in the early stages of these episodes interested in this.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
And we did say, ask us whatever. And if people are still curious about our relationship, then we will continue to answer those questions about our relationship. We have, things that are about other things as well, but we like to keep it like mostly one topic. Otherwise, it sort of goes everywhere and all over in between. So we have probably about 4 or 5 questions today. The first one is a very easy one. What's the go with the mustache? So Glenn's grown a mustache in the past few months, and it is amazing. I'm a big fan.
I'm not a mustache guy or a facial hair guy outside of this little bit here, but Millie suggested that she likes them.
I do. I'm a big mustache fan.
And so it's, as I say to people, and this is not just a dad joke, but it's growing on me.
Oh, because I always ask him, like, do you like it? He's like, it's growing on me. Like, oh,
But I actually mean it like it's growing on me, like I'm getting used to it.
Just kill me. I stopped asking that question because, yeah.
So one of our friends, Sammy Dunk, messaged me and said, "What's with the mustache?" And I said, "It's growing on me." And she just wrote back and said, "Like a caterpillar."
Some people go, what's with the big dirty mo? I love it. I'm big on it. I don't know. I just love a mustache. And if you can grow one, it's even more like, oh my God.
So people keep saying I'm changing since I've been with you, right? But, and here I'm in a pink shirt.
Hot pink.
Yeah, it's man salmon. Fuchsia. And I'm mostly renowned for wearing blacks, obviously. But I think there have been some changes since being with you, I guess, in just the way I express myself or do things differently. Or so on. And even a post I wrote on social media today as we record this was just around the fact that I think you want to be in relationships with people who are growing because you're life's changing all the time as we age and as we go through new challenges and personally, let alone together. And if you're with people that aren't willing to grow, then you're constantly going to be fighting for the authority to be right all the time.
Well, I read this thing once that people have like 5-year cycles and so they change, and then a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, my relationships usually last around that time because we develop and we change the things that we are or the things that we want in life every 5 years. So that's
still got some time.
That was someone's theory on life in general.
I get that, but I think if you're not actively growing, like people go, oh, you should just accept me for me. Well, no, not necessarily. Not if you know your behaviours and your triggers and the way you're reacting to things are negative and poor. Someone shouldn't just accept that. You should be actively adapting and changing in life.
Yeah.
And we said this a few episodes ago. If I'm the same person now I was 10 years ago, then what have I just done with the last 10 years? And then if you are the same person despite 10 years of experiences, and I'm not talking relationships, I'm talking in general, then you're not really learning and growing. You're just defending your current position.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, is crazy because I'm very different now. As we record this, I'm 2 days off my 53rd birthday.
Yeah.
Now, go back 20 years, if I'm the same person, that's crazy.
Yeah. Like I look back on my younger self and there's a lot of things that I'm really happy to have changed. So, yeah. A lot of people will go, they'll have trauma or they'll have a hard life or they'll have a hard upbringing and then they'll use that as an excuse to be the way that they are. Maybe they might showcase not necessarily good traits or, they might be a little bit angry at the world or they might hate this sort of person and, but they blame it on their upbringing or their childhood and I feel like once you get to a certain age, the onus is on you to change.
When do you put your hand up and go, now it's choices?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So you can't keep hating a thing I always say, semi-jokingly, I just did a Kokoda trip and there was a young man on it, Callum, who's a really good young bloke, and he did a couple of things here and there where I would say, don't do that. And he would start telling me why. And I said, I don't need the story. And his mum would laugh. I said, no. And I say to people all the time, I don't need the story. And the only reason I don't need the story is because the more you tell a story, the more you embed that story as being why you are the way you are.
Yeah.
And if you can knock that out of kids while they're young, so they okay, you don't want me to do that anymore. It's no one's fault. I just don't want you to do it anymore. Whereas we know 30, 40, 50-year-olds that are still telling stories about, but it's because of my upbringing. Well, at what point has it become about choices that you're making?
Yeah.
And we're getting a little bit off relationships, but it is a part of it.
Yeah. Because
triggers and traumas, and if I'm triggered by, every poor relationship I've had, or you are, like, if someone's cheated on you in numerous relationships, so you're automatically looking for that trigger, that's craziness to me, because you're starting, your partner has to be in the defensive all the time.
And then I guess it comes down to maybe you should have spent a little bit of time alone to heal.
Not 10 years necessarily, but
it's up to you. It's up to you. It depends on how long you
take. I'm a slow learner.
Maybe so I didn't. It's just that I didn't come along. So.
The mustache is here to stay.
It is here to stay. Yay!
Unless I'm told to get rid of it. No, it's here to stay.
All right. This next one is about our kids. So, how do you guys get along with each other's kids? Yes, we do. For the most part, we do. So the boys love you. They've accepted you very well, I believe.
Probably quicker than I thought, if I'm honest.
Me too.
And that was a tricky one for me because my kids were mostly grown up. And then, as I record this, my Samantha turns 18. She has a birthday the same day as me. So my kids are largely grown up. And then I have two young boys and young men, and I haven't had that experience because my daughters are all what I call neurotypical and Christian's not. And so Christian's not as a 21-year-old, he hasn't gone through the normal life phases of a young man. So he's kind of stuck perpetually in that kid phase, which I love.
He's beautiful.
He is beautiful, and he loves you.
I love him.
This is talking about how well we get on with our kids. This is how well Christian loves Millie. I ring him. So there's a few places on the Kokoda track where you can get service, but there's one place where you can, if you're lucky, get a FaceTime, and Christian loves a FaceTime. So I'm on top of the Minari Gap, for anyone that knows Kokoda, coming up out of Minari Village, heading back towards Port Moresby. And I FaceTime him, and I'm having a chat. And he had spoken to Millie, because Millie told me the day before, or maybe 2 days before. And I just said to him, did you speak to Millie? And he got confused and said no, because he hadn't spoken to her today. And I said, oh, no, like yesterday, Millie said you spoke. He says, I'll ring her now, and just hung up on me. There's no goodbye. There's no anything. So I'm thinking, bro, I've got literally this little tiny window of time I'm sitting on this hill to talk to you, and you've hung up on me to ring Millie. And then Millie texts me and says, Christian just rang me. I said, yeah, I know. So he does love you. The older girls, as in my daughters, I think are good with you, mostly.
We just don't spend a lot of time together, so it's kind of hard.
But adults with their own lives.
Yeah, they live a few hours apart from where we live, and so when I see the older girls, it's mostly when they come to drop Christian off with us. He'll stay a week with us. Every other week, we like to have him, if he can, if it suits. So yeah. Yeah.
So, but for the most part, yes, and It's a really interesting thing because I was watching a video just this morning, actually, because I got up early and was doing some stuff, and it was around how hard being a stepdad is, because you want to go in and have some positive influence, but you're always going to be potentially you're not my real dad, or you're. And this guy that was talking about it was saying that his mother was saying to him when he went into a stepfather role that this is the most important role that you'll play, but it also can be the most thankless. And she said, we're the only animal species that would, as a male, would parent
someone else's.
She said every other species would kill them, which is pretty extreme, right?
That is extreme.
I kind of get what they're saying. And so then to fulfill that role, and it's been like everything in a relationship, it's been largely about communication that's helped, because obviously when I first came into this, I was very protective of you. And so if the boys did anything against you, I would maybe be a little bit rough on that. And you would say, no, they're just kids, and they have their stuff. And we also very well understood how hard the early stage of our relationship was, because it's changed for them. But they accepted it very quickly, to be honest.
I think also, because you didn't have neurotypical sons, maybe you expected a little bit more of them, you know, without realizing, oh yeah, they are just 11 and 10.
Yeah.
So, but
they're very grown up in some areas.
Yeah.
But then
they're my little bubbies in other
Marley
areas.
in particular, he can be so switched on. But then at times you go, he's just a baby.
Yes,
and
my little bubba.
He doesn't realise that, and hopefully he doesn't watch this yet.
Oh my God, he would hate me saying my little bubbies. He'd be like, Mom. He'd go, bro.
They always call us bro and sister.
Yeah, or big back. Big back is something that they call us too.
But yeah, we get on really well. And I think for anyone out there in our situation, that's got to be a real conscious decision. You've got to make an effort because they were in your life long before I was. And
yes,
vice
and
versa.
they're very loyal to me. Yeah.
So if you want to be a part of someone's life, you've got to accept all parts of that.
My little honeys. All right, so these next few questions are based around, I guess, jealousy or envy or feeling left out or in a relationship.
Can I just say, for a lot of these questions, I've heard some of them, but Millie put these up on an NGL when I was away, and I don't get to see them because there's a lot of non-contact on Kokoda, and the NGL only lasts for 24 hours. But so we're kind of running blind. But I'm kind of glad you put it up while I was away just to see what was still out there. And we get very different questions between the two of us.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I think, some similar, but some different,
So this one is, okay, I'll just read it. How to navigate my new boyfriend, I guess, not liking that I have a male best friend. I've followed you for a while now and I know you have a male bestie. So if you know me, you know that I have a lot of male friends, and I guess I used that as protection when I first moved to Australia because I went to a private school in Cairns and I felt like I just didn't fit in at all. And I've spoken to you and your listeners on your podcast about this before. When I first moved to Cairns, I hung out with a few girls and so we were still moving over from Papua New Guinea. We didn't have a lot of money. My parents worked so hard to put us into this private school, which I look back on it now and I feel like it was kind of a little bit of a waste because I didn't really do much with that education. I'm successful as a PT. However, I could have done that just having gone to a state school.
Yeah.
You know? And so we first moved over. I found a group of girls who, I'm not bagging them out. I still talk to a few of them. So, hey, girls.
If this is you, it's you.
you know who you are. No, but we hung out a little bit, and they are girls who come from, you know, very successful families, very hardworking, successful families. And so, but then, you know, going through high school, you get this little bitchy sort of cliquey.
Especially that 14, 15-year-old age group. That's a real tough age for girls.
100%. And then because, you know, they were quite successful and quite come from money, I guess. I'm trying to sound not...
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
But this was your experience.
This is my experience, yes. And I still remember, you know, we didn't have a lot of furniture in the house because stuff was still getting shipped over, or my parents were still trying to get enough money to buy some. And so I had just my bed in my room was just literally a doona on the floor and some pillows.
And can we just say, for people that don't understand PNG culture, that is the norm.
That is the norm. Everyone sleeps on the floor. So it's just like, it was just a nothing to me.
We've had PNG people come and live with us with a bed in the room and they still sleep on the floor.
Yeah. So the girls came over. We were just getting ready after school or something to go somewhere, and I just said, I just want to get changed. So they came over, they came into my room and they looked at my bed and they were like, is that your bed? In that tone. And I just remember like, oh my God, like, this is what it is, like, and I just remember feeling like shame and like embarrassed, and then when I went to their places, I was like, so this is why they're asking me if that's my bed, because these are mansions, massive, overlooking the city, really nice places on a hill that you can see the ocean and the city. Like, this is wealth, money, and we didn't come from that. I've never come from that, so I didn't understand. And so when they and then another time I was in the shopping center and I come straight out of Target and they're like, why are you in Target? And so I just couldn't. And I didn't want to keep feeling that shame and all that sort of stuff. So then I found Moss, who's from PNG as well. Shout out to Moss. What's up? We're still really good friends to this day. I just saw him at the weekend. so I found him and we started hanging out. Then I got introduced to all the boys, and then basically my friendship group grew from there, and I'm friends with lots of boys. I feel like I relate more. So yeah, I guess this is the person who asked this has seen a little bit of that on my socials. How do I navigate my new BF not liking that I have a male best friend? I've followed you for a while now, and I know you have a male bestie. You also have a lot of female friends. So
I probably don't post them as much or as hang out as much, I guess, because we now live in Redcliffe, and when we're all living in Brisbane, as in I was in Brisbane and they were, I would catch up for breakfast 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
But the drive from Redcliffe to Brizzy, I'm a bit slack for it. And I'm really sorry to Digi and people like that, but she gets me. But yeah, I do have a lot of female friends as well. But that question to me, and I'll let you answer how you think she handles, I'm guessing it's she, but for me, I'm going to say the issue is with the boyfriend.
100%.
Because obviously and that's worth having a conversation around, particularly if you really, really like them and you see a future in it. You can't leave it unsaid.
I would start by saying, like, any new relationship that you get into, I would fully disclose that I have a lot of male friends, or I have a male friend who I'm very close to. I've known him for this period of time.
If I wanted to be with him, I would.
100%. If anything was going to happen, I feel like it would have happened by now. I would disclose whether anything has or hasn't happened, just for the, just for transparency, which, we love. And that I would also say I value this person in my life, and I also think that I provide a lot of value to that person's life. And so this relationship or friendship is not going to end anytime soon. And if you have any issues with that, then I suggest that we don't move forward with our relationship because
so address it early,
I would say. And I would make it very clear that this person is in my life, has been for a while, and I'm not about to just kick him out just because you're in.
And I understand that as men, there's a pecking order with the way men operate in
Boring.
general. No, it's just the way we operate. So when you walk into a room, men are naturally from young age assessing where they fit in the pecking order. I'm not saying they're all trying to be the alpha.
That's why I said boring.
No, but they need to know where they fit in.
Yeah.
So if I'm not a fighter, for example, particularly as a young man, and I'm not a physically imposing human, I need to know if I'm 5 or 6 on that ladder so I don't overstep my mark because we're an animal at the end of the day, and that's how that animal works. So
I guess men are wired that way.
Yeah, so you might say boring, but it's not. I'm not walking into a room trying to be the alpha, but I need to know where I fit in. Yeah. And if you and I am very alpha, I understand that. But if I walk into a room where there are 4 or 5 men of similar strength to me, it's not that they're above me or below me, but we know that we're all cool.
Yeah.
Because we know where we fit.
Yeah, fair.
Whereas as a young man who went through a lot of abusive things in my childhood from my father and other people, I would always go in feeling much lower than that, which isn't a good, so you kind of naturally retreat. So I would either want to fight people because you didn't scare me as much as my dad. But that's what we're doing. We're constantly assessing this sort of pecking order. And then particularly I'm guessing they're young. And I'm not to say that at my age you don't have thoughts around this stuff as well, but we've had discussions about it, how we feel about, because as a man, I'll say, there's a natural assumption for us to think, well, every man wants, why wouldn't they want this, right? But then you will say to me, well, then why wouldn't the same be for every female that you're friends with? Oh, okay, so the same logic doesn't work in our brains in reverse. Right.
It's wild,
we're very simple creatures.
Yeah, because I know that you have a lot of female friends. So when you say things like, why wouldn't they want you? I'm like, well, do you want all your female friends? Is that what you're saying?
By that logic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, my point to this would be good communication with the boyfriend, and just to understand, like Millie said, how this person fits into her life or your life, the person writing this, but also still be open enough to listen to why he feels those concerns, because there'll be some stuff that he hasn't unpacked or worked on himself more.
I will also say, and this is just my opinion, and anybody who listens to this is more than welcome to challenge that, but if your new relationship, or even down the track, if they are okay, I'm kind of okay with it, and then maybe you're with them for another couple of years or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden they put an ultimatum on you, it's me or him, I'm choosing him, as in the male best friend who was there before you, and I was so clear about that. And if you put an ultimatum on me and say me or him, I'm choosing him only because I feel like putting ultimatums on people that you both love and nobody has done anything wrong in the relationship.
Is there context of that?
Well, if there's no one, so if he's not if my male best friend is not overstepping boundaries and trying to take over our relationship or anything like that, or if he hasn't hit on me, or if our relationship has just been the same friendship for before you came along and continually, and then all of a sudden because my boyfriend or my partner can't get over his own insecurities about that, even though I've been reassuring him for so long, if he cannot get over his insecurities about that and he puts an ultimatum on me, I'm always going to choose the person who didn't put an ultimatum on me. So that's my opinion. You're more than welcome to challenge it, but I would suggest, I would suggest
based
that.
off the context you put on it.
Yeah.
Because I have also seen situations where a male or female bestie of a male or female will try and, I've had female best friends who will try and bag out potentially a female that you're seeing right from the beginning, or potentially seeing, because they get jealous too. And I'm sure it happens in reverse. So as long as they're not interfering with your relationship. Have you ever had a situation where a long-term male friend that you thought was just going to be a male friend, all of a sudden someone day, hey, I've got feelings?
Yes.
Because that can really ruin a friendship.
Yeah. So I had I don't want to call him out on this.
No.
Okay, I had a friend.
No,
I'm not even gonna give you the timeline, because then he'll know that it's him. I guess he's gonna know it's him anyway. But so he, after all years of being good friends, he just said, like, I have always been in love with you, and I said that the feelings are not mutual, but I said it nicer, I guess.
Yeah. Do you go back and look at the timelines and go, did I miss something?
Not really, to be honest.
So
we were just good mates.
Himself,
I guess he just kept it to himself. There was no gazing of eyes, and there was no is there, isn't there, ever. We were just really, really good friends. And then he moved away, and then he came back for a holiday, and then, he said that to me. And then I was like, oh.
And it's kind of hard to be friends after that, because that's an uncomfortableness.
Yeah. So we don't stay in touch. I haven't spoken to him for quite a while. Every so often he'll send me a message on WhatsApp and say, hey, how you doing? And I'll just reply, and then we'll leave it at that. But we won't talk for sometimes years even. I'm so old, man.
Relationships are really confusing though. And even non-relationships, because that's what we're talking about there, is a non-relationship. Because sometimes people convince themselves that if given the opportunity, so say this guy, whoever it is, sees me now, he'll go, well, what's he got that I haven't got? But it's not, you can't always describe why you're attracted to people.
Yeah.
Like, you and I can talk about what we love about each other, but it's very hard to actually put into proper words what made us catch each other's eye over any other human in the world, because there's so many. And so, because I've had that situation, obviously, where someone wanted a relationship with me that I was very clear about. And then when I started seeing you, saying, well, that's just because you gave her the opportunity. Well, I wasn't out there looking to give someone an opportunity.
I know.
That's not how it works.
Yeah, put it on Seek. Opportunity. Expressions of interest.
Full resume, cover letter. I need to read your references.
Zoom interview on Tuesday.
References on relationships, because most relationships end up poorly at some point. Otherwise, you'd still be in them.
Yeah.
So all your references would be
like
really negative.
Like a Yelp review.
That'll be really negative. She was really nasty.
So it says here, and then they'll be like, "So why do you have a gap between?"
So I was unlovable.
Oh my god!
The correct answer is because I hadn't met you yet.
Oh yes, it is the correct answer. Love you, baby. All right, we'll move on. Hopefully that answered your question and gave you a little bit of insight into our lives, because we do have, and I was always, just to talk about you and your female friends, I'm always very good with you and your female friends. In fact, I actively encourage you to go and do that drive from Redcliffe to go and see them, because, they were there before me. Yeah. You guys had a love for each other before me, and I understand it from my point of view, because I have that same with other people. So
there have been times where you've actually said to me, hey, you haven't caught up with Digi for
ages, and what are you doing? And the one thing that Digi did say was, I love that you're happy, I just don't want to lose our friendship in the middle of your new, and that's totally fair enough.
When you've got proper good friends, and Digi's definitely one of them, Jaden's one of them, it's irrespective of sex, they're people that you I do talk to them more regularly than this, but you could talk to them in 3 months' time and it's like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Sammy Dunk is one of my best friends.
Yeah.
I might talk to sometimes, and I'm sorry, Sammy, like 2 or 3 times a year, because sometimes she'll message me and I think, we haven't spoken for months, but we're still good.
Yeah, but I love that when you actually do catch up, it's like straight back into the friendship,
They're good friends.
Yeah. And shout out to Digi. She has cornered every single one of my fights apart from obviously us being overseas.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much, Dig. Love ya.
And Digi's a footy girl, not a boxing girl, but she loves it.
Yeah, so she comes and she holds the bucket and she hangs out in the room and, she's there if we need something and she's just a good human. All right. This one is also about jealousy and there's 2 surrounding this particular topic. So I'll read them both and then we can talk about it. So I know Millie loves to party because I've followed her for a while now, but it doesn't seem like Glenn does. Does that create an issue? And then the other one was for me. You seem like a party girl, and he, Jesus, guys, not a boxer girl. You seem like a party girl, and he seems not to be a partier. How does that work out? Does he get jealous when you're out? First of all, I used to be a party girl.
I haven't seen that much partying on your social.
Right?
So
maybe these people have followed me for quite a while and also maybe might follow me on my personal page, which is a private page and I don't let anybody...
You do need to probably cull that one a bit.
Yeah, I do, because that used to be on public and then when I created my new page, I made that private and it still has 4,000 followers, so I do need to cull it because I would like it just to be my personal friends.
Don't take this the wrong way. It was a more typical young, fit chick page.
Yeah.
Where, you're in... bloody bikinis and your bum hanging out and then everyone likes it.
Yeah.
But if there's a photo of just you, don't like it as much. So it's not, so I understand that. That's a natural sort of the way social media's evolved and your social media in particular over time. Mostly our social media now is very conscious. Like we're not scared to share whatever we want to share just because people are uncomfortable with it. But we also don't just share it for the gratuitous of, we want you to like it. It's because we want to write a lesson about this.
There's value that we feel like we're providing in it.
Yeah.
So I used to party a lot. I have spoken, about this, that during my teenage years, I went a little bit off rails, if you want to call it that. And I did party a lot. So I've done the drinking, I've done the drugs. I'm just going to be completely, transparent about that. We like that word.
Yes.
So I used to be a party girl. I used to love it,
Did you build, this just ties into another question, did you build a reputation because of all the boys you hung out with in those teen years? Because that's the way girls like to negatively, if you're not hanging out with them, it's like, she's,
No, not necessarily. My reputation was party girl, one of the boys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you asked any of the people from Cairns or anyone that I hung out with, they would know and you would know that I was one of the boys. So I'd never hooked up with any of the boys or it was just never my style. I was very tomboyish.
As teenagers, I've always hated, teenagers or any age, I've always hated that the, slut and whore and that sort of stuff that people put on people. Like, and that's a whole other conversation about how men can sleep with as many people as they want, but if a woman does it, it's whatever, like, welcome to 2025. But I just wonder because, and I'm getting off topic here, but we'll come back to that question because, it's easy to call women those names, or when I was in the army, because the women were just starting to come into the army, they were either called that name, or if they wouldn't sleep with you, they were lesbians. That had to be, because
it wasn't you.
No, because it was nothing. I'm so about desirable you. That if she doesn't desire me, then she must like
men and their egos. I feel like it's still a little bit like that. Like they'll hit you up, and then if you don't reply, then they'll be like, "Oh, you're ugly anyway." Am I?
Yeah. Well, that's actually happened to you, and I've in a context that. Where someone's, had something to say and then as soon as you've not responded or they've gone, you're not even hot. Okay, well, why'd you hit me up at the first?
Yeah, I didn't hit you up because you're not even hot. No.
You said it first.
So first of all, yes, I used to be a party girl. And I do not mind I love to dance. I love to go out and have a party, but I just don't do it as much anymore because it doesn't align with my goals.
You like a drink?
I love a drink. I love a cocktail, I love a cocktail. I don't mind a wine. I don't mind a beer. When the sun's shining, I go, oof. Would love to have a cocktail right now, but because it doesn't align with my goals, I don't do it anymore.
And just recently, I was in PNG and Millie was invited to go for dinner with a couple of very close friends, and I said go, and she said no, I can't because I know I'm going to drink.
Yeah,
and we're preparing for a fight.
Prefer not to
and
put
I said,
myself
just
in
have
that
one
situation.
or two. She said, I know I won't.
No, because when I hang out with those guys, shout out to Moss.
And this goes back to the last, even to this question, like as a man, you've got to be comfortable with that. Like I've got to, because I said to her, you're not making that decision because of me, are you? And you said no. Because
if you know me, I wouldn't.
Yeah, but I still like to make sure that you're never adjusting a behaviour just because there are definitely things that I have some insecurities around, but I try not to throw them on you. I try to deal with them as a man myself. There are things that you've been doing that I think you just need to process this like an adult, and it's not.
And I would always reassure you how you needed to be reassured, but in saying that, I wouldn't stop doing those things because of your insecurities. And I'm not trying to be like I do what I want, but what I'm saying is I would continue to do them because I know I'm not doing anything wrong, but I need you to be comfortable with that. So I would always reassure you.
Those are things that cause contempt eventually if you start changing behaviours for someone.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's like after Millie's last fight, the boys were with us. We were staying at a good friend of mine. Shout out to Michael. He gave us
really nice apartment
on the Gold Coast to stay for a few days, which was amazing. And then the boys were getting tired even before the fight night had ended. Millie had already fought, and we had a lot of good friends that came to support you. And she said, I'm going to go out with them. And I said, well, I'll take the boys home, obviously. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what time you got home, but it's...
Not that late. I didn't. Yeah. I got made fun of by...
One or two in the morning?
Yeah, something like that.
So
I wanted to go to Macca's because I was hungry and I hadn't had like a cheat meal or whatever you want to call it in so long. And so I just wanted a McSpicy. And Kenny was like, is that your night out? Is that your night out? You're going to have one drink.
Kenny and Annabelle.
Yeah, you're going to have one drink and go to Macca's. And I'm like, stop it.
But that's, again, in a relationship is... that's part of my role because whilst I coach you, and would I like to have gone out in that instance? Yeah, probably. But it's more important that we parent the boys, and it's already 9, 10 o'clock, getting a late night for them. And so I have no fear that you're going to do anything. That's not the issue.
Yeah.
But to answer the rest of that question from my point of view, I'm not a partier. I don't really like social groups. I'm good in... If I'm standing on a stage, I can talk to 2,000 people. If I'm at a boxing event, coaching, whatever, those are my places. But I'm not someone that wants to dance. And it's not even that I'm self-conscious about people. I just don't like it. It's just not for me. Like sometimes Millie's going, get over yourself. No one really cares. It's not even that. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
But I like you dancing. I would watch you dance. But I'm boring at parties. And I know that you like to have a good time. And I think I'm going to become the wet blanket. So I wish... I wanted to party, but I just don't.
But beyond just being a party girl, I used to go out when I was younger just for a party, but then it developed into, I actually love music, all types of music, whether it's old music or whether it's new music, whether it's electro, whether it's hip hop, whether it's R&B. I love all sorts of music. So I have been to so many different types of festivals because of my love for music. Like I'm going to one Fridays Live and Mariah Carey is headlining it. Like, I cannot wait. Because I love music. I love to dance. I love to show my appreciation for that music,
And because I won't go, as soon as you were looking at that, I said, buy 2 tickets and take a friend.
Yeah.
Who are you taking that
I'm
with?
taking Moss.
Yeah.
So I just spoke about Moss just before.
And that was our shout because, that's the sort of thing we like to do.
Yeah.
Everything's checks and balances in life.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't classify myself as jealous at all.
Nah.
Because I wouldn't be buying a ticket for another male to go out.
And he buys me festival outfits. And I'm like...
I do like dressing her up.
Fair.
Or down. Whatever you call that. But festival...
Sorry, Mum.
I've never been to a festival.
Yeah.
But I do like to buy you festival outfits.
Yeah, he went through I went to one festival and then he started buying me all these festival outfits, which I really appreciate. I'm like, babe, I'm never going to wear these. I go to one festival a year, if that. So you need to stop.
Yeah, so I stopped.
Yes, but I have this whole section of my wardrobe that's festival outfits, and now I'm spoilt for choice.
But I don't think I get jealous. But I'm a typical male or human in so many. I always think I'm not a typical male, but I've learned since meeting you I am in so many ways. There are so many traits that I guess are inherently in us as males. So I guess there is always some little bits of jealousy around some things and certain people, and but it's. You just have to deal with it yourself.
Yeah.
I try really hard not to splash it onto you. And I can be passive aggressive. I'm not aggressive at all. For my size and all, I'm naturally not an aggressive human. I don't mind fighting back in the day, but I'm not naturally aggressive, and I would never be aggressive towards a woman, in anyone. That's just not in my nature. However, I can be passive aggressive if things.
Which I'm not a fan of either.
But you pull me up on it pretty quickly.
100. And you're like, I'm not being passive aggressive. I'm like, well,
sometimes I'm not.
Well, you are.
Sometimes it's just
well, you are. And then like maybe an hour later he'll be like, look. An hour later he'll be like, look, maybe I was. I'm like, no, I know you are. So how are we going to deal with that?
So what's your answer to the rest of that question?
I don't, like I've said it, like you don't get jealous, or maybe if you do, you don't make that an issue. And again, if you do, I would always love to have that conversation, and I'm not going to change that behavior because I'm not doing anything wrong, but I will always reassure you that I would not do anything to you, you know, in that partying or festival sort of sense. I go to have fun with my friends and I have a great time, and we come home and it's just really, really good fun for me. And I never want to get to an age where like, oh, I'm too old to go to a festival, because it's music. Love music.
Can I just
always
add
have.
to that?
Like, for example, if I didn't become a PT and a boxer, I wanted to be Beyonce, and then Beyonce,
she can sing.
Beyonce took my job.
She can sing.
Shout out
Can
to
I
B.
just add to that? If anyone ever tells you they went out to anywhere, a pub, an event, a festival, and they slept with someone because they just got drunk, that's absolute garbage.
Leave.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Leave.
So she can drink and do whatever and party and be dressed however she wants to.
And I'm still low-key a bit of a bitch to men.
But also know that's you would never come home and go, oh, babe, I just got so drunk.
Yeah.
That's a lame excuse.
100%.
So because people
and I've
do
had
what
it.
they want to do.
I've been on the other side of that. Oh, I was just so drunk. And it's like, meh.
Yeah, it's boring.
Boy, bye. It is boring.
Can I just finish on that one, or just ask a question, I guess? You don't think it's an issue that one person likes to do a thing, and like we've got a lot of similar goals, but there's also things we're really different in, and that's never going to become an issue for us?
I don't think so. I really, really don't think so. I think if it's going to be an issue at all, it might be for you, just because I'm the one going to do that thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I don't do much without you, really, do I?
No.
Other than go to Kokoda and stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. That's an interesting situation.
Yeah, I don't think it'll become an issue, because I do feel like you guys, all people, have to have their, every now and again, their own separate little things that they're into.
We don't do a lot apart. And recently I went to Kokoda, and we're in such a good place at the moment. And I say that because on the surface of watching all this, you might think we're always in a good place, but that's not real. That's not real for
It's been
anyone.
pretty hard, really pretty rough start to the relationship, not between us, but just circumstance.
Yeah, because we do have young boys involved. We do have extra partner relationship involved, all within a pretty tight community.
And we do also have, which you guys have been privy to, you know, negative feedback and negative connotations on our relationship. So it hasn't been a walk in the park, but, you know, we love each other. So
there's that. And sometimes you've just got to remember that piece, because even when we have a fight, it's always really important to me that you know I love you, and that I don't. And so I do change.
I don't like to call it a fight, maybe a disagreement, because a fight is like...
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I guess. I'm a catastrophizer.
Language. God.
I'm a catastrophizer. So... Yeah, but whenever things don't go well, and I actually am a catastrophizer, because in the early days in particular, it was always like, as soon as a behaviour happens, I think you're going to leave. Because that's my experience of life, from my parents to everyone in your life, you know. And so it's taught me that I haven't dealt with things from when I was 14. And you think you have, but you just put them away.
Yeah.
And I live such a strong... Like, I'm a very strong human, so people mould around me, and Millie doesn't. So that means the mirror's shone on you a little bit, and you've got to face some things.
Yeah.
But you too.
Yeah.
And I think we've both adjusted. So that's my other thing. When people have relationships and they go, people shouldn't try and change you, what a load of garbage. You should mould to each other, which means you've both got to give a little bit of ground.
Yeah.
And someone shouldn't be always be the one worked on, and the other one never changes. That doesn't make sense. But we've both got to mould, because we've had not fights, discussions or arguments where I've said I've changed his behaviour, and then you'll go, but don't you think I've improved in this area? Well, yeah, okay, yeah, that's true, because you focus on yourself in that discussion, and then you've changed a lot of behaviours in whether it be anger or those sort of things.
Keeping in mind that earlier in this podcast, we said, if the behavior is not causing problems, then it doesn't need to be changed. Yeah. So if it is, then you either need to decide that this is not working out, or we change the behavior.
Because put it into a positive behavior. You're really fit, and so obviously that can be an attraction to someone outside of getting to know you, just a physicality. So if I go into a relationship with someone who's really fit and they train 3 times a day, so this is a positive, everyone will go, that's fine, I'm happy with that. Well, it's still a behaviour. So what if in 6 months ago, I don't like you training that much anymore?
Yeah.
Well, but you did it at the start. How do you not like it now?
Yeah.
So every behaviour that another human has that's not hurting you and that's not illegal, those are the 2 things that mostly you have to worry about in life. If you're not hurting someone else, if you're not doing anything illegal, you should do you. Absolutely. And so, don't try and change everything about someone when that was literally what attracted you to them. Even if you didn't know it was what attracted you to them, that package of a human, everything they do that got them to that point in life that attracted you to them, has got to be, that's who they are. So it'd be like if you didn't like how confident I speak or didn't like how much content I do, because even if we've had a disagreement and we're not feeling great, I'll still record a podcast, I'll still do a video, and it would be easy to look at that and go, you don't care about, no, I do, but what I'm putting out there is important to me as well. So if you then said, I don't like you putting that stuff out there, well, that would be crazy.
I guess the negative behaviours that we've spoken about on our relationship would be my temper and how quickly I react to things. And, instead of me going, oh, that's just who I am, that's something that I could change for us to be better. Or how you just said, maybe you might get defensive and a little bit passive aggressive.
I get very defensive.
Yeah. We can change and we can develop and we can grow because we want to stay together. And if we don't change those behaviours, we will not stay together.
That's the thing, what you just said then, that we want to stay together. That's the thing that's helped me make more adjustments than anything you've ever said to me, is that I think about the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is, do I love this woman and do I want to stay with her? And the answer is always yes. Then I'm going to adjust what my natural response feels like it should be to what I know is better for me and you in the long term.
Whilst keeping your own core values.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's very deep.
Yeah, I know. Jeez. All right. I've got one more. So, and this one is very similar. Considering the age gap, how do you guys deal with differences in music taste, fashion sense, what you consider leisure or fun activities, etc., etc.?
Well, I'll say with music, you've got such a broad taste. Millie can hear music that I've not even heard before, and I've yet to find a song she doesn't know the words to.
I've listened to, and I used to be obsessed by music. So if anyone is from the I'm showing my age, but LimeWire.
So the dodgy download.
Yeah. So if you were hard on LimeWire, any song that I'd hear, I would try and find it. And so I'd find it on LimeWire, and I had on Windows Media Player. I had like an extensive range of music on my laptop on Windows Media Player. So, and all I used to do was have my headphones on and I used to listen to music. And I was always the one in our friendship group who would find the song and then show the group the song. And so for a large part of my life, I was obsessed by music. I still am. And so there is a lot of songs that I do know, and I have a very wide range of music.
So let's break this question down piece by piece. The music's never been an issue.
Nope.
Because we've got different tastes, and there are plenty of times where I listen to very much the same playlists all the time. I've got sort of 2. One I called Feels, which is just more chill, and then one that's, I've just called it A1 because I want it to be at the top of my list, which is more when I'm training. And it's called a short, sharp playlist. It's now really long. But Millie has such a broad taste that I'll often say to you, do you want to play your music? Because I prefer to listen, and I'll hear songs I've never heard before sometimes. And some of these are like, I'm talking Eminem and stuff I grew up with as well through the 90s, but I just hadn't heard because they weren't mainstream ones, and you know all the words, and I'll go, oh, I've never heard this, and you'll tell me what album it was off for. So we do have, I think we're pretty good in that area.
Yeah, and shout out to Linda, my mum. She introduced me to a lot of her music, which when I was young and at the time, I'm like, what are you listening to? But now I actually love everything that she's ever shown me. So
the boys think our music's lame either way.
Yeah.
Why are you listening to this trash?
Yeah, what is this? And we'll play a song and this is a Fortnite song. No, this is a song from my era.
So, all right, so music. What was the other one?
Fashion sense. We'll love the pink shirt, babe. So if you're watching or if you're listening, jump on the YouTube because he's wearing a gorgeous pink shirt.
So typically, I've always loved black. And I used to say to people, and I only ever wore black, and I'd say to people, I'll wear black until we come up with a darker colour. That used to be my
funeral thing. Black.
but I do like colour. It's not something I used to wear a lot. But mostly I'm a jeans and T-shirt guy, or just in PT gear. That's mostly my life. And then 98% of our room is Millie's wardrobe. So she has options. And so she can wear amazing things, but I can still get away with jeans and a T-shirt next to that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not often... There's a couple of things. The JCP ball last year where I wore a suit.
Oof, I did like you in that.
I feel like a cop when I'm in a suit. That's
Stop
my
it.
only issue.
Stop it.
Where's the handcuffs, you reckon? That was our
This
line.
took a turn.
Yeah, so I don't think
it's
fashion
Monday,
sense,
babe.
but there are times where you've also bought me stuff and suggested that might be a good outfit to wear.
Yeah. Like that get up that we bought for the boat party. Oof, that was very nice. I do like that on you. I think fashion sense is, like, I'm mostly in PT gear, to be fair, or in active wear, because I train so much throughout the day that I just am in that wear.
I've never washed, because I like to do a lot of the washing at home. I've never washed so much PT gear in my life. Because Millie will train 3 times a day.
Yeah.
And she sweats hard.
So I can't wear the same thing.
Yeah.
I've got to get changed.
So it's a full change.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty hectic. And then the boys are athletic.
I know. And then it's just Dolphins gear or PT gear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fashion sense, it's
But if
fine.
you made a suggestion to me, I'd try it.
Yeah.
As well. I'm not that sort of bloke that's like, no, I'm not trying. I'll try it.
Yeah.
If you think it's good, I don't care what anyone else thinks.
It's like, a lot of people will be like, oh, men don't wear pink. But that's very progressive, so you're doing well.
But also, I am that sort of bloke that I don't really care about that.
Yeah.
As in, I'll wear whatever I want to wear. If I'm comfortable, I like this. I don't know what the brand is. I bought 4 or 5 of these, but they're a nice fitting shirt. They fit and they're soft and they feel comfortable. And then I've got a few different colours, including black, just because that's what I like. But if you suggested something to me, I would certainly try it.
Yeah.
And then it's similar. I guess I often will see dresses or things online that I'll buy for you that I like, but I've got an idea of what your fit is and. Mostly these days, and every now and then we get it wrong because it's an online thing.
Yeah.
Mostly there was one you bought the other day which we have to wear somewhere, which is amazing.
I'm just looking for an event to go to so I can wear that dress. It's from Poly. Shout out to the girls if you want to. I was looking through that website the other night and I was like, I would wear anything and everything on this website. So if you're looking for something, no matter what the occasion or what the event is, Poly. Amazing.
And one of my favourites is Joa Brown.
Joa Brown, very expensive, very pricey, but very worth it. So,
and
it's all in US dollars, so don't let the amount fool you, because when you go to the checkout, you'll be like, oh my God.
Just close your eyes, tap the
close your eyes, tap the card, and then don't check your account after. And then don't pay rent.
I think it's kind of cool to be actively involved in what each other wears.
Yeah.
But we don't live like silos. We're very much in each other's lives, and I was going to say I hope that'll stay the same. That will stay the same, or we won't have this style of relationship.
Yeah.
Because people grow apart, which is absolute garbage. But that's because you allow that to happen. You're both taking your own paths and doing your own thing, and we don't do that. And on the occasion, I can get really busy because I do get addicted to working and the stuff we're building. And you'll pull me into line. Say, hey, I just don't feel like you give me any attention lately. And I think that's crazy because I give you more attention than any human I've ever been around. But
to be fair, I don't do it often. I'll just come and sit on your lap and you tell me I'm working, and then I'll be like, okay, baby.
Yeah.
But
you'll just tell me if you don't think I'm, there are times
tell you,
when you've walked down the stairs, you said you didn't even notice what I was wearing.
Yeah.
Or, okay, I'm again in the car.
Yeah.
And I used to think that's not that big a deal because I do say it a lot or whatever, but being able to communicate that without being scared of your partner's reaction, that's important, I think. So, and I think we both do that pretty well. So.
And then the last part of that question was talking about what we consider fun, so how that differs. And I guess we just touched on that before, like going out and stuff like that. But even though we don't do it often, but I will say that I love our life. So that is fun for me.
Yeah.
So what we do together, the kids' sport. I love going to the kids' sport. It is like the
building, which we can't
highlight of my weekend is going to watch the kids play sport.
Yeah. And even just going to a pub and Well, we know they have a Cosmo because Mill loves a Cosmo.
A good one anyway, because some people can't make a Cosmo.
I don't even drink and I've learned to make a Cosmo.
Love ya.
I'm doing all right.
How hard is it to find a good Cosmo? Like, it's not even that hard to make.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, and we enjoy, our other thing, which probably people don't know about us, is we play cards a lot.
Yes. So wherever we go, we could go to a fine dining and we'll pull the cards out.
We've been to Moo Moo in Brisbane, which is very expensive, and we're playing cards, and the staff thought it was hilarious. They're coming over going, who's winning?
Who's winning? Obviously, it was me.
Obviously. So, I enjoy our relationship. And
Me too. I think we have a lot of fun together, and I just love hanging out with you.
But also be
you're my bestie.
Actively building a relationship would be my advice to people. Like, don't ever think that we're there because we're going to be changing and as we get older. And I have concerns about our relationship in the sense of, I'll just throw this at you out of the blue. As a man and you're aging, you worry about your sexuality.
Aging very well, I might add.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But you do worry about how you perform sexually over time, and I don't think it's an issue yet. But then I think, well, in 7 years' time, I'm 60, and you're still going to be in your 30s, and but still in your 30s. And so there's definitely things that I think about and I worry about, and I've got to start being more conscious about my health. I don't do any supplements, never have, but now I do because, and Millie looks after that because she takes a lot of supplements and knows what.
Not a lot, but I take a few vital ones, and then you have to drink them as well. So
and the stuff that I drink tastes so bad that it feels like, is she poisoning me or is
no, slowly poisoning.
No,
I haven't. Okay, I'll stop. You should get it.
But yeah, so those are all, rather than freak out too much, I've just got to work out how do I look after myself in relation to that. And I guess we always have to have open communication around that stuff. We've been asked questions around sex, not a lot, but a few. We haven't really wanted to go there yet because I don't know if it's
such a personal preference thing, I feel. Like, it's like you do you about your sex life. Like, we're not going to give our opinions or our advice on that because everyone is super different.
But I can understand if it's, like, I can understand now as a man in my 50s because I've not had a close relationship with my father. So who do you get advice from, right? Like through my 30s and 40s, I was just learning stuff myself.
I guess most people do anyway.
Yeah, but I think if you have good relationships you can learn things. Like, young men used to learn to shave off their dads.
Okay.
That's not always a thing anymore.
No.
So, and now kids are learning off YouTube and TikTok. And I, particularly as the boys get older, I want to be able to help them with that stuff. And I want to have such a relationship that when sexual questions come up, because that is a confusing age, and I moved out of home at 14, so I learnt everything. I wasn't someone that would ask questions. I was very shy as a young man.
Who's that YouTuber? And he started quite a few years ago, probably even a decade ago. How to Dad, I think.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, that's such a great idea for young men who don't have a dad.
But and also sad that
it is sad, but it's he saw a gap and he took it.
And a lot of men won't ask questions.
Yeah. So he put out all tutorial videos on how to.
He just stopped recently, didn't he? Didn't he say he was about to stop after all these years?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen him for a while,
there.
But it's like he teaches you things based on if he was your dad or if you don't have a dad or beautiful.
So I guess if people ask questions that they're too shy to ask anyone else, why wouldn't we answer them, I guess? But it's just something to consider. We don't want to give away our life in that area because it's
private.
People are voyeurs in their own way and it might not just be information. But there are certainly things that we could touch on and talk about.
Yeah.
Good episode?
Yeah.
So I just want to say to people, keep the questions coming. Like,
we'll put out more NGL links. Yeah. We haven't put out a lot, because we have so many questions to touch on.
Yeah.
But we might put out one this week and
And if people are, I know people have opinions of us and that's fine. We're public. We put ourselves out in the public, but if there's ever anything that I felt was too offensive, it just won't get aired.
Yeah.
We're not compelled to answer everything. So if you want to ask genuine questions, no matter how challenging you think they'll be, I'm up for that. And if I look at the question and I think there's value in that for people or I understand why you might be asking it, I'll definitely answer it. If I think you're just trying to be nasty, I'll just kick it through to the keeper. We're all good. Like, I'm not going to participate in that if I don't need to.
Yeah, and keep in mind that we are in no way experts on any topic whatsoever. This is just based on our experiences and what we think and our opinions.
Yeah, we probably...
everybody has one.
Absolutely. We probably should do an episode, and we've talked about doing an episode on the fact that we both have a belief in different, we verbalise it slightly differently, in the fact that we're not special, nobody's special. There are very few special humans in the world in history ever.
Yeah.
Very few. And I'm thinking Nelson Mandela's, your Mother Teresa. There's certain people that we all know a name, be it athletically or in other areas. We're not that.
No.
We're very ordinary people, and I think that's what helps. What I do differently, and I know Millie does differently to everyone else, is that when we make a decision to do something, we go after it pretty hard.
Yeah.
And I think every single one of you watching or listening has that capability.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you get anything from us, I hope it's that there's a thing I want to do and I haven't been sure if I'm good enough to do it. Well, you are.
And I'm going to try.
Yeah, just give
So
it a
this
red
thing,
hot
if
crack.
it's humanly possible, it's within your reach.
Yeah. So keep your eye out for the next NGL link and hit us with more questions.
Have a good week.